Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the My High Game Guys board gaming podcast. I'm your host Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I am Jeff.
And
no contractions. I watched Star Trek recently.
Do they not use contractions?
Data does not use contractions.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah.
I think I remembered that from weird Star Trek lore.
Yeah.
Anyway, we don't have as many board games to talk about because we recorded just last week. So we only have 1 week worth of games to talk about.
Which means we'll have less board games and more banter.
Yeah.
And also news and Kickstarter this week.
Yes. It also doesn't help that none of us went to game night this past week.
Because it was in Aurora, and it was an hour 15 from when I was leaving work. So I just didn't go.
Don't you leave work at like 3?
I do not leave work at 3, no.
Don't you get off work at 3?
Not all the time either.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would have gone had I been at work all day, but that was the start of Passover holiday that I got.
So you were just off for a 5-day weekend?
It's 4.5 days, all right, sir. Get it right. So I was, and we left at 12, and so I got home and I'm like, I'm not going out again. So,
yeah, I mean, and I was up, having, what some might call a honeymoon, if I were legally married, which of course
you're not.
We're not because of legal
Was there any
reasons.
problem that I edited all that out of the episode?
Oh,
any of your like legally we're not? I took all that
Oh, you
out.
did?
No, I know.
Oh.
I took all of those things out.
I felt like it was a joke that you were just jesting with us, so I took it all out.
I mean, it is also somewhat of a joke.
Yeah. When can you legally get married?
30 to 45 days after we sign our prenup.
Okay.
We have still not signed our
prenup.
prenup.
Okay. All right. Wow, okay. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Just really hope there isn't any deal breakers in there.
I mean, we know what's in it. We know it's just at this point, it's like our two attorneys bickering over really pedantic legalese that we really don't give a shit about. And we've both gotten very impatient and been like, look.
Are they charging you for this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It sounds like.
It sounds like a scam.
Yeah.
And it feels like a scam. Fucking attorneys.
Yeah.
I hope you still listen to this podcast, Chris Evans, you son of a...
He's too busy suing the city of Centennial.
Over pickleball.
Yeah.
Ban of pickleball.
Fuck him.
They banned it, and he doesn't like that.
Yeah.
So, anti-pickleball ban.
They banned it over it's like they banned it because it might be too loud without any evidence that it is too loud, which is not, I believe, I'm not a lawyer, but from what the lawyer said...
See, and there you go. You're just trusting lawyers.
Yes. That they just can't be like, nope, we're not going to do it because it might be. And
if you guys officially get married, are you
this.
going to get her good credit rating? Or
That's not how credit ratings work?
Yeah. That's what...
I'm a little concerned that Boyd, who vaguely works in accounting, right, doesn't understand that.
See, I already know. I know what my bad things are in accounting, and I just stay the fuck away from them. Anytime anyone asks me anything about income tax, any sort of tax accounting, I'm like, fuck off. I don't know.
No, yeah, that's not something you...
No. I only took half a semester of it, and then I just left. I was like, I'm not taking this anymore. And then and then at the end of the semester, I was like, all right, I'm ready to see an F on this, and then I'll just retake it. There's a B. So I was like, fucking perfect. Great. Don't have to worry about it anymore.
What kind of the suery, the person doing the suing is friend of the show, Chris Evans.
Yep. Captain America himself.
Yeah.
yes.
Anyway,
he's in the news. He's been reported on and
by
interviewed.
the Denver Post, no less.
Yeah.
But let's talk about board games.
Okay, we'll get into the lawsuits later.
Yeah, we'll come back around, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys, you only played one game.
I only have one game to play.
And that is a game that Jeff also played. Jeff,
Correct.
You have one other game.
Correct.
And then I was not involved in any of this. So I'm going to go first. And then Jeff, you can go. And then Zach, you can jump in when he talks about the game.
Great.
You guys played.
Fantastic.
Cool.
Yep.
So I was up in the mountains for a honeymoon ski trip thing with some of Megan's...
Don't you have to get married first?
East Coast friends.
For honeymoons?
That's why honeymoon. We're going to have like 4 honeymoons, so just get used to me calling just any major long trip I do
What's
for the
the
next year
thing that
is gonna be a
honey is
honeymoon.
before it turns into honey?
Bee
Nectar?
Nectar moon.
Okay.
because it's a pre-honeymoon.
Flower,
Yeah,
Yeah.
is it
flower
a
moon.
flower. Well, what's before moons?
Our moon was made
Flower
from a
satellite?
rogue planet or something that came
like
hit us.
quarter colliding with
Oh my
Earth,
God.
like 3.9 billion years ago or something.
Yeah. So that is what you're doing.
Yes.
Nectarsun. Okay. So so I did a Nectarsun.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That works.
Thanks,
Yeah.
MJ. I also like the street cred we're getting from having MJ steal the Wizards Twitch
His
account.
boss's Twitch account.
Anyway, so we were up in the mountains. So we the two people we were with aren't really gamers. So we packed a bunch of
Isn't the
games
Wizards
just in case.
chess streaming today?
Apparently not.
He's like, I'm busy.
I can't log into the account.
Yeah.
Someone's already logged in.
I like to think MJ is supposed to be running the chat for the Wizards chess stream, and he's in our yes, like they are streaming, and he's just
No one knows.
No one knows.
oh shit, I'm sorry. Anyway, so we did talk them into one evening, and we didn't it wasn't like we had to like cajole them, but like we're like, hey, you guys want to play a game? And they're like, yeah, you brought some. Let's try something. We'd all been kind of tired from skiing, snowboarding all day, and then sitting in a hot tub for a couple hours and sauna and all of that. So we went with something really light and easy.
Terraforming Mars.
So we Tokyo Highway. So we busted out Tokyo Highway. Megan and I had to reread the rules because Megan had never played and I had not played in a hot minute, so I couldn't remember the exact specifics.
Was it like Geekway or something like that?
Something like that.
It's a dexterity game.
It's a dexterity game where basically you start with chunks. You start with like the pieces to build highway. So you have pylons that are these little gray cylinders, and you have highway pieces
popsicle sticks
that are popsicle sticks. Yep. And then you have an amount of cars depending on player count. In a 4-player game, it's 7 cars.
And the cars are not nearly as heavy as you want them to be.
No, they do not have a good friction thing going on there. And so the goal of the game is you build.
They could use some tires.
They could use some rubber. You are building your highway, so you start from the ground, and then you have to. So you get a free placement at the beginning of the game. That's basically your popsicle stick with one end on the ground on the table, and then one end up on one pylon. So it's one high at the end. And then each time your turn comes around, you place a popsicle stick in a pylon so that it's either one higher or one lower. With the caveat that once any of your popsicle sticks go back to the ground, like that bit of the highway is done.
Right.
Normally, you can only have one highway coming into a pylon and one going out. With the exception, you get 2 yellow pylons, and those are like your wild card ones.
Gotcha.
And those let you split. So you could have a yellow and have one of it go down as an exit onto the ground, and then the other one can keep going into your highway. So you're building your highway on your turn. And the goal is to get to place all of your cars on the highway. So the way you do that is anytime your bridge crosses or your bit of road crosses another road for the first time, or goes under another road for the first time, you get to place 1 car. And that is for every instance of that happening. So if your enemies or your opponents built 2 parallel roads, and you were able to cross both of them, and you're the first road that goes over the top, you would get to place 2 cars, 1 for each road you crossed over. And the goal is to be the first one to place all of your cars.
Yep.
So we played 2 games. There were no major catastrophes in this game. We all definitely made some really conniving, weird, twisty, fuck you roads trying to block people out.
Gotcha.
But
so
no,
you made a Dallas highway.
Yeah, absolute goddamn nightmare.
Yeah.
We played 2 games. Megan won one, and her friend Matt won the other one. I came close, arguably second each game, to where like I was the next person who had a reasonable chance of actually going out.
Gotcha.
By one game, I would have won, but if you do knock things over, you have to give one of your pylons to other players for every piece you knock over. And so at one point, I knocked over 1 piece of one person's and 2 pieces of another person, so I had to give away 3 pylons. And if I had had 1 more pylon, I would have been able to get high enough to go over and win, but I did not, so I did not win. But yeah, so that was Tokyo Highway. Fun little dexterity game. I enjoy it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, for kindly donating.
Moving and getting rid of a bunch of games.
Correct. Then later, Megan and I bailed on the last day because we were both kind of tired. And those guys were like, well, one of them is a ski instructor back east. So he's like really in good like skiing shape. And then the other guy
Physically fit? Is that what you're trying to say?
His thighs are in much better shape than mine. He himself
just
is,
his thighs though. Only his thighs are
isn't,
better.
like dramatically better shape than I am. But like he definitely has built up the thigh muscles from skiing a lot.
Tells people to pizza and French fry a lot.
The many jokes about you're gonna have a bad time if you pizza instead of French fry, or vice versa. But yeah, so they were also, because the one guy was on day passes that he was paying for like each day, lots of money.
It's like $120 a day.
Yeah. So he was all about like going until the very end, no matter how tired he got.
Yeah.
So the last day, Megan and I tapped out early, and we went back and we started up a 2-player game of Terraforming Mars. So it's been a while since Megan and I played 2-player Terraforming Mars. We play a lot of 4 and 5. But I ended up being the Corporations Act that you were at the anniversary.
Okay.
Where you get 1 for every adjacency.
Yeah.
And Megan was the corp that gets the extra $1 for their science tags. For the titanium resource, where it's worth 4 instead of 3. Ultimately, I got really good card draw through it all, so sorry,
it's right into the mic.
So I got really good card draw through the whole thing, and just kind of got a little bit of a better engine going.
Yeah.
Between my Prelude card and my Corp card, I got to place 2 greenery like right out the gate. So I started with 2 greenery on the board. I drew a city in my starting hand, so I was able to immediately drop a city onto that 2 greenery to lock them down. Like, just a lot of things that kind of kept going well for me overall. I also was able to take a bunch of space cards that Megan would have loved with her extra space stuff and then build them my own self.
Yeah.
So I pulled away pretty rapidly. I claimed the first 2 awards. She was able to get the 3rd one, so I didn't completely take all the awards. And then I funded the first milestone for the cheap one, and then she funded the other 2. And one of the ones she funded was most heat at the end of the game. And then immediately, the action after she funded it and it was like the last one she did, the most expensive one. I built like Soletta.
I was gonna say,
and so my heat production. She was like, "Wait, what's your heat production now?" And I was like, 11. What's yours? 8. Oh no,
I love a good Soletta.
Yeah,
it's gonna be unfortunate. And that was another one that was like a space tag one that she would have loved to have gotten, but stole it from her. So I ended up scoring 20 points to her 10 across the awards and milestones. And then I had like 40 points in cards, and I was ahead. I think I was 1 behind her on the terraforming track when we started scoring. And then I had like 10 greenery, and then a bunch more points scored off of like my 5 cities that were well like placed. So things just went really well for me in that game. One thing we did look up and we learned. So when we played at the anniversary, we played your card wrong.
Which one?
Your corp.
Yeah.
The adjacency one.
Yeah.
So it is literally every time an opponent places adjacent to you.
Not the first time on that tile.
Not the first time. So like say you have a greenery and I build a city on both sides of it, you get a resource for both cities I build.
Okay.
So it's every time someone makes a new adjacency, which is just 2 tiles being adjacent.
I had like a new person makes an adjacency to that tile. Yeah. That's how we interpreted it. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So asterisk on that one, I should have won.
So you probably should have had significant more resources and probably would have
Well,
won.
I mean, what? I only built like 2 or 3 things, so it wouldn't have mattered.
That's also true.
There's so many like even player corps that they've printed for that game too. They're like BGG promos that are all just like player made.
Yeah, which that one is a promo one. I also learned. I didn't realize that didn't come from one of the official sets.
Yeah,
but yeah, I actually want to start looking into some of the other promo ones and like see if there's any that are like seem particularly fun or good.
They're super weird from what I remember. You'd
play,
be like 3 shots
weird.
in, man.
You would. Did you just play Descent recently, or was that just that piece? Has that piece been there for a while?
Yeah, it was there last week.
Okay, there must have been a water bottle right in front of it, so I didn't see it last time. Now I do.
Oh, like it was like
yeah.
I don't know where it needs to go to block.
Well, you got it right there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like 100%. I can't.
Anyways, there's a door on a box of Descent that Zach has just witnessed.
You can see it in the stream.
It's on the stream.
Yeah, because I had the box sitting up so that it looked good, and then I went to move, and the lid fell off, and all of the things tumbled out, and I missed that when I put them all back in. So, anyway, those are the 2 games I played on my ski trip. So, Jeff, what about you? What have you been playing recently?
I played a new to me game called Wonderland War. Wonderland's War.
Wonderland Wars?
It's one of those 2.
There's definitely an S in it.
Yeah.
There's no way to know. Anyway, I played
Wonderland Wars.
Wonderland Wars. It's an
Wonderland's Wars. Sorry.
Oh, okay, cool.
I searched it and it said Wonderland Wars, and there's like, no, it's actually Wonderland's Wars.
So I played that game with the S.
Wonders Land War.
It is a drafting. Well, it's an Alice in Wonderland drafting, bag draw, push your luck, area control.
So like hints of quacks.
So you have a personal player board that has a bunch of locked powers that you can put tokens on. That would be like a token in Quacks. You would like forge it and put it onto your board to unlock that ability.
Yeah. Okay.
And then you have personal like powers that have little like circles on them that if you get to the right drafting card, you can unlock that power, which can be like your potion equivalent from Quacks, where you would draw a madness token that would destroy one of your supporters in that area. You can turn your shield over, put it back in the bag, and redraw. And like my power was, if I would ever draw my like more powerful token that I started with, it would refresh that shield.
Gotcha.
But I would have to unlock that power. And then there's a bunch of quests that is like end on a forge space on the battle track at this specific location, or end your run of tokens with a 1 at the end of it. And that gets you like 3 points for every one of those that you get. And then you have end game on those quests that are like collect 7 total of this specific color of token or this specific type of token. So it's like collect 7 between 2 different colors.
Gotcha.
And then if you collect both of those on the top and bottom, you get an additional bonus 3 points as well.
Okay. How many people did you play with?
We played with 2. It does have special rules for 2, but they weren't too crazy. But it would certainly be better with more.
Plays up to 4?
Plays up to 5.
Okay.
So you have the Mad Hatter's table. You play 3 rounds. There's Act 1, 2, and 3. And that's where the drafting comes in. There's the Mad Hatter's table. There's like 11, 12, or 13 cards, depending on how many players you have. You have your character, and then they're going clockwise around the table until, well, they stop at whatever card they choose. That's your draft. That has a certain amount of power. You have supporters. Those meeples can go out onto the board. The meeples that you put onto the board are like your push your luck buffer.
Gotcha.
So the more supporters you have there, the more you can draw the bad things. But if you get to 0 supporters in that space, you bust. Okay. So that's your bust protection. Don't want to bust too soon.
No, you don't.
Never.
And then you take turns drafting on those until everyone has 4 cards, 5 cards in 2 players. But if you ever go around the entire table, you have to roll a die that gives you 1, 2, or 3 negative point tokens, which at the end of the drafting phase, you will then, whoever has the most, at the end of every act of drafting, everyone gets an extra bust or madness token. It's sort of you're like take a supporter off the board. Everyone gets 1, but whoever has the most of those negative points tokens gets 2, but they get to discard half of their madness shards.
Gotcha.
But the cards you draft are always very powerful. The more powerful ones, when you draft them, make you roll that die. The 2 Sometimes you can draft a card, and then if you can choose to roll the die, and you get an additional benefit that's extra powerful on top of that. And then there's a bunch of quests and stuff that even have to deal with the cards that you drafted throughout the game. So if you want like certain cards that give you 3 supporter power or something like that.
Okay.
And then all of your leaders have like a power level. You're putting your leaders out onto the board at the end of the T phase.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on to the war phase. So the war phase in 2 players, you're just kind of going to each location. There is an AI that just has kind of like a base power level, base level 3, 5, and 7 that sort of just buffers you having no one to fight against.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just win things that no one else is on. And that's where your bag draw comes in. So on those drafting cards, that's how you're getting your tokens and stuff like that. And then you are just drawing from your bag and adding to your power level. So if you're starting, like I'm starting at 1, the other person's starting at 0, you're just sort of doing the quacks thing of like just holding it out in front of you and revealing. The downside of this is, like in quacks, you can just kind of personally go until you're done. Where this, you have to go round by round by round where everyone's simultaneously doing it. There's no just kind of like pushing.
Right. And technically, like it says for quacks, is on the very last rounds,
it matters.
It matters for that.
Yeah.
But otherwise, people just sort of do whatever.
But the tokens are very similar. There's a token that when you draw it, the next token you have will be double. There's a token that has more numbers on it, but it is not affected by any other tokens, so you can't double it.
Gotcha.
There's one that so all of the tokens, there's 2 versions of every one of the tokens, but then there's 4 sets. So the sets you only play with in that one game, and you can change the sets up per game, kind of like how Quacks is.
Right.
Where there's different versions of that.
Yeah.
But there's 2 power levels of every set. There's like a 1 and a 3, a 3 and a 6.
Okay.
And it's kind of like the weak version and the strong version. There's a creature in the version we played. It's a 1 and a 5. But every time you play the 1, when it exhausts, it will get swapped out with a 5. Every time you play the 5,
it swaps out
after exhaust, it goes back to 1.
Okay.
So you kind of get weak and strong depending on when you're playing them.
Okay.
And then there's forge tokens, and those will let you unlock your personal player powers. You have your madness track, and that's like 4 madness tokens, and that lets you refresh your bag. So there's busting and there's refreshing, and then there's refreshing and busting. So if your madness track gets to 4, you put everything in your exhaust back into your bag. If you bust, that doesn't mean everything goes back into your bag. That just means you're out of that round. Everything in active goes to your exhausted, and then you take everything that's in your madness track, and that goes away.
Okay.
Or yes, because everything in your madness track did not go away because you have to hit the end of the madness track for those to go back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
There are like Wonderland people, like additional standees that you can hire that are like special characters and stuff.
So this was a Kickstarter, right?
Yes.
Did you play the Kickstarter version?
I played the retail version.
Okay. All right.
Which is all standees.
You're right.
Instead of minis.
As soon as you mentioned standees, I was like, okay, I'm curious to see if that was.
I think the minis version and they're all cardboard shits, where the Kickstarter version is all like tiles. Not quite like the Quacks version, more like a chip theory game. You know? Yeah.
Got it.
But this was totally fine. I would probably rather play with the standees than the minis in this version because, it has full art.
Look, the minis do too if you paint them.
They even have an add-on for the Kickstarter to be like, we can put colored clips on the bottom of the minis so you can tell what color is yours because they're all just gray minis. So the war phase, you're just sort of drawing and playing out, but it's sort of like, and I'm bowing out. But then you want to end on certain spots because only if you end on those certain spots will let you forge and upgrade your powers, which is like end game points and stuff. But when you win, it's your regular area control thing. Like if you win, you get the points that are on that space. Act 1, 2, and 3 increases those points that you get. But also if you win that location, you get a castle. That castle will add 2 to your like passive power on the next time you fight there.
Gotcha.
And then those like Wonderland people, half the deck is like standees that give you additional powers wherever they are. And then the other half is like super specialized tokens that can be like, I've drawn this token. The next token you draw is blank. It just removes all words and power from it. So you just draw a 0 on your next one, basically.
Okay.
Things like that.
Huh. Okay.
And then you do every location, and then you do that for 3 rounds. And I lost.
How long did it take you?
It took quite a while. It was a learning game for everyone. The first round took a while. The second and third rounds were super fast.
Gotcha. You think it would be a lot quicker for the next games?
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
Did you feel, so I know for a lot of games for me, there are several that are like, this game is like this other game, but with a lot of extra stuff on it. Do you feel, so it seems like to broadly compare, it's Quacks with a bunch of another game sort of attached to it in terms of the area control and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's worth that?
No.
No? Okay.
I think Quacks is a better game.
Okay.
It's hard to compare to Quacks because Quacks is very good.
Yeah.
This is a different game.
Yes.
And I think you get a lot more out of this game if you're a big fan of Alice in Wonderland.
Okay.
I did really, really like the personal player board with the unlocks and stuff like that, but I wasn't able to really get a lot out of that, I think because of the 2-player game.
Gotcha. So
there is a special 2-player side of the player board that we were also playing, but like how much you draft, you're only drafting 5, 10, and then 15 total cards. And getting your unlocks out of those cards is really tough.
Oh, yeah.
With just that. And even in higher player counts, you're only doing 4, 8, 12, but every time someone goes around the tea party table, any empty spaces are now refreshed and get additional cards. So there was a ton of the deck I never saw.
Okay.
So more cards would be getting drafted, and then I would be seeing more options. Like in my last round, I could have gotten a whole other quest done. I refreshed the board, and not a single like upgrade power came up. And I was like, I put out 6 cards and didn't get a single one. And I would have gotten an extra like 6 points on top of that.
Right.
But I thought it was good, but it's no Quacks, but not much is.
Right.
I think the like total time is not great, and it could probably only get worse with more players unless people were like on top of it, especially the drafting round, because you're just drafting. If you have 4 players, you're each drafting 4 cards. You've got to draft 16 cards for this round to end. Let's go. But it was simple once you learned what was going on. But overall, Wonderland War was pretty decent. It is like $190 for that fancy edition.
Shit.
And I think they just did a Kickstarter round with just the expansion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And there was a whole bunch of shit about that Kickstarter. And it's like, oh, cool. I just want the expansion. The expansion was small. It was just some cards, some new tokens. It was like $18, and then the shipping apparently was like $22 for this small $18 Kickstarter expansion. And people are like, dude, the shipping's more than the game. What is happening here? And so, yeah, I guess and then I think they lost their publishing partner. It was Skybound, and now it's not Skybound anymore. And yeah, people have been really up in arms about how absurd the shipping costs are. And then the creator is not doing great at responding to these, where people are complaining, and then he's just taking that username and canceling their Kickstarter.
Oh, god damn.
Yeah. That's like, oh, you have a complaint? Well, you're canceled. Here's your money back.
That's not a good way to do that.
Yeah. And so when he does that, that comment is removed because you have to be a backer for that comment to be on there.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Not ideal.
No.
But the game was fine.
Okay.
The art was good. It was very Wonderland. Very
Was it a take on Wonderland?
No, it was a take on the fucking, what are the movies?
Oh, okay. I don't know. I mean, there was just Alice in Wonderland and then Through the Looking Glass, the Tim Burton one.
Yeah, it was more Tim Burton-y
Okay.
because I mean it's Wonderland War.
Right.
And even what's that EA Alice?
Oh,
Game.
Alice. I don't remember. No.
The one where she's in like an insane asylums in her teens. It was an EA video game.
I remember it. I just don't remember what it's called.
Yeah.
There's a VR game that's also like Through the Looking Glass or something. Is the VR one that's very Alice in Wonderland?
Alice Madness.
Yes. Yeah. It's got a little bit of that. It's a little grim, dark
Yep.
Wonderland.
Thanks, Thursby.
He should be playing Hunt right now. He had texted me that like, hey, we're hunting. I was like,
American
you know.
McGee's Alice.
Yeah. He did just recently give up on ever making another Alice game. EA was like, nope.
Gotcha.
And EA owns it.
Yep.
Yeah, Wonderland Wars. It's okay.
All right.
I would like to play it with more players.
Well, just buy that fancy edition, paint it all, and then might consider it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'll just be playing Quacks while I do that.
Yeah. I'm just going to play this better game.
So we also played another round of Midarra.
Yeah, he did. Did Jeff die?
No.
No, absolutely I did die.
You did?
I failed that jump.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. It was a jump that was like, as long as you don't roll fucking 2 2s, which is the worst roll he could have rolled with those dice. And he did.
I think I rolled a 3 and a 2. So I rolled a 9.
You had 4. Your agility was 4.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what it was. So you
yes,
needed
the perception was auto succeed. The jump was roll. You needed 10. I needed 4+ on 2d6.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. And
I did not get it.
No. It was funny. Because he was like, I'm just going to go over here and get this sword real quick. And he did. And then it was just one single jump he had to make. Nobody was around. So he's just like, oh, let me just... And then he just fell down the hole. And then that was it. We found his body later, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
We were definitely discussing at brunch how often you and... is it Thursby who plays with you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You and Thursby die. And so I'm glad to hear that trend continued. Thursby die?
No.
Okay.
I died in a retcon matter because Paul and I got into an argument about a rule implementation.
The rule is weird.
The rule was not only the way they worded it is very weird.
So you roll 2d6.
Okay.
And their defense is 9. And then you roll 2d6. These are, they're not even d6s. They're like
I mean, they're 6s.
2 to 9.
But like the numbers are not 1 through 6.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And there's different levels of
dice. Their defense is 9, and then you roll a 13. So your damage difference is between the 9 and the 13. And so that means you hit.
So as long as your number hits their number, so their defense is 9, if you hit at least a 9, you've hit them by rolling a 13.
A 9 and a 9 does 0 damage.
On its own, yeah. A 13, though, then you then subtract 9 from 13, you get to 4. That's how much damage you've done. There are symbols that augment this.
Yeah, for every 2 shields, you get +2 damage. For every star, you get +2 damage, whatever.
But only a couple of enemies have if it's a shield and a book symbol, you add to the attack roll.
You add to the 2-hit roll.
Yeah.
And we were trying to figure out if that 2-hit roll
carries
over into damage. So if you have +3 to hit and you roll a 9, you are now a 12 against their, or if you roll an 8 against their 9, but you have +3 to hit, you are now an 11 versus their 9. But does that to hit roll disappear because it was only for to hit, or does it add to the future damage?
And I guess you learned that it does add to the future damage.
Well, and here's the thing: is that's what everybody but Paul was under initial assumptions of. That's how it read.
Yes.
Anything that added to the roll just made the roll, instead of 10, it's now 12, and then you just use that number. He was interpreting it as, oh, you got to the 12, but then you take that number out when you're actually dealing the damage, and it's only based off of the numbers you rolled plus symbols.
So then you would go, you hit, but now you're back at 8, and you need symbols to make up that difference.
Yeah.
Because there are skills that add to hit and to damage, like if you're flanking or backstabbing. If you're backstabbing, you get +3 to hit, and then +5 damage.
Oh, see, now it makes it more confusing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, not just that too, but in the rule, it says you then calculate damage based off of the amount you rolled, versus saying off of the attack roll. Because if it just said attack roll, like the previous thing was establishing what the attack roll was. But because it then changed it to the amount you rolled is like, well, is it just off of the die? So he convinced us to switch it off because of that. And then Thursby sent a message to, or no, I
think Paul
posted it.
Paul posted on BGG.
And then someone's like, no, it totally just adds to the damage.
Yes, it's to hit, and then you just go from there.
Yeah. And
was the person who replied anyone that we should listen to?
I don't
It was
know.
just literally the first
Just
random
a
BGG
person,
user
yeah.
who jumped on it.
They say that it does become much more
In endgame.
obvious in endgame.
So,
Okay.
Because to hit is fairly rare, so that bonus is not often on there anyways.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is powerful.
and I can guarantee that it's not a secondary account I made. I promise that. No, I'm telling you, it's not. It's not that. No, but
a lot of protesting for it not being you.
but so afterwards, we saw that, and then I sent a vindication gift from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then it's like, all right, well, we'll count it to where you died, Zach, and I was like, okay, I'm fine with that. Because at the very end, because of that ruling, I didn't take the final 2 damage that would kill me. So
Okay.
but we came across another boss after that match.
Yeah, so we had the one where I died and failed to jump. Paul fell down into a pit. There was a lot of extra tiles and monsters for something that ended up not really mattering at all.
It would have mattered more because this one was about we had to pick up various loot tokens, but
there was a caravan that was attacked and exploded.
What about a sticker or something, like just put an Avery sticker right there.
He's very concerned that I'm not wearing an Avery shirt today.
Yeah. But had it come in earlier, it would have mattered. But like specifically, the game said the monsters that were down in that hole didn't matter in terms of winning the round. And so
yes, only if we had gotten that very early,
yes,
would it have mattered.
Yep. So we did that one, and then we fought a boss in a cellar that like she spawned a bunch of eyes that you couldn't do damage to her while the eyes were around. And if you did do damage to her, it brought all that damage to 0 and it damaged the eyes instead.
By one.
And so we spammed damage on her to get rid of those eyes. We ended up, like the first time we did damage to her, she summoned some people, but we brought them down fairly easily.
I did.
You did. And
because I get like a zillion free attacks.
Yeah.
So.
And then so we were able to beat the boss, which was good. And then we only had enough time for a side quest. And one of the side quests is this game. Okay, so you know how like The Witcher has, what's that game called in The Witcher?
Gwent.
All right, that has Gwent.
Do you know how Dungeons and Dragons has Dragon Poker?
Yeah.
Does anyone know the actual name to that game?
Oh, fuck.
Three Dragon Ante.
Yes.
So this it's a game called Abraxas Battle Dice. Dice?
Fucking
yeah. Anyway,
who cares?
it's a die rolling game in that you can do in this game. So we did that, and we
it's cooperative.
It's cooperative, but like you can't help each other at all, really. But we went through like
you try and not fuck it up for everyone else.
Yes, that's true. You try and not fuck it up for everyone else, but you basically. I'll explain how it works in a second, but it was funny that like it goes over 5 rounds and 2 rolls. So you have 4 dice and the round is over when you lock in all 4 dice. Our second roll into the first round, we restarted because Thursby wasn't like completely getting it or something.
Oh, and also we fucked up.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And then about round 3 into our second attempt, we realized that we were fucking it up. And so we just started the entire thing over again.
Instead of replacing the card, we were just adding the card. And it's like, this is literally impossible.
Yeah, because the cards have symbols on there that you're trying to match exactly.
And there's a symbol that literally only comes up on the 6 equivalent. It's only on one side.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool, this is impossible.
Yeah, we kept adding cards, and it was just harder and harder. And we're like, we can't fucking do this. And so we looked at it, and it's like, oh, you replaced
the card.
Oh, dumb. Okay. Yeah. But
and then there's like a boss card that just has like some base symbols.
Uh-huh.
And it's the base symbols plus whatever this random weapon that we have drawn for it.
Each of the bosses in that mode have a different thing that happens.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
so this was like our intro one. We could have gotten some good equipment. Instead, we spent 20 gold and we got 25 gold, so we made 5 gold.
Basically, 2 of us survived to the end.
Yep. And I had 1 health left.
I mean, two of us died in the very last die, basically.
Yeah. Because you like lose health if you go above or below symbols.
So if you need 4 books or 2 books and 4 shields, and you have 5 shields and 2 books, you lose a health.
Yeah,
Ooh.
if you hit it exactly, you gain a health, but otherwise, if you go above or below, so that's where you're just like we were all fumbling around. Like sometimes you'd make it, other times it's like I took 4 damage that round. Shit. So,
but it was a fun, light kind of end thing to the day.
Yeah,
Okay.
Because we only had like 45 minutes or so, and we were like, well, our side quest is go play this weird game or this scenario that we're not going to have time to actually do. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm current. This will make sense in a second. I'm currently playing a PS5 JRPG action RPG called Scarlet Nexus.
Okay.
I'm about 5 or 6 hours in, and boy, is the story in that just starting to wear on me, just because of how much like you're like 5-10 minutes of action, great. Now all this fucking story happens, like, and you're like, all right, I just want to get back to the fucking thing, but I also don't want to not pay attention to it, and in this game, that's starting to happen a bit too, just because it's like, well, even with the Sparks notes that we get, it's still like, I'm like, fuck, this is still reading like 10 paragraphs worth of shit.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I need the Sparks notes for the Sparks notes.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, the person has a venom symbiote in it, and you need to cure it. The other guy's ran into his
Yeah,
there's a monarchy, but it's a
duoarchy.
Archy.
So 2 kings.
Yes, 2 kings, 2
Great.
queens.
That never has ever.
I don't know. That's my character's like thing.
Also, my character thing.
I'm like the son of one of the families,
and I'm the daughter of the other family.
And then she's got a venom symbiote in him.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm still enjoying it, but that story is just...
I just am chain smoking to no end.
His character.
You are eternally like 26 or something in this world. So like you come from Earth and go into this world and you're just eternally youthful. Mm-hmm. So he just fucking chain smokes. Doesn't give a fuck.
Yep.
Great.
Yeah. But the game's still fun.
I pulled this sweet sword that was like Cloud's big like Buster Sword-esque
thing, yeah.
But we don't have any characters that are doing like a 2-handed build. But it was throwing like some absurd dice. It would throw 3 dice, and then after it hit, it would throw another one on top of that.
Of just damage.
Yeah.
So if you hit, then you just were doing a shitload of extra damage.
Yeah. And then it was like extra defense because it's so huge.
Yeah. But Paul is our tank. Paul is our tank person.
Got our unique of most unique items.
Yeah.
Which was a shield made out of like the jaw of the warden or something. It's just a lot of teeth.
Yeah.
It's like a snappy shield. Kind of like a mimic, you know?
Great.
But as a shield you're holding.
Yeah.
So you can it just does damage around it.
Yeah, it just bites things.
Yeah. And then Thursby is our archer.
Bower.
And then I remembered it before you said it. All right.
I think you got it wrong. I think it's Bower.
Okay.
I think it's Arrow Dude.
I'm our spellcaster. And then Jeff is our quick melee guy.
Okay.
But we don't, Paul is no longer our healer because he was just like,
what if I give you rerolls instead?
Yeah.
And we're like, let's do that.
Yeah.
And then immediately got tethered by the boss to where all damage she takes, he also takes.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So
he did survive.
He did survive at least.
Barely.
Well, and that's partially due to the fact that my spell casting is...
You sucked all the damage off of him?
I sucked all the damage off of him. I just... 100% yes. It's blood magic.
The more damage...
Because then you can turn around and use that damage.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, what the system we had going before was I would suck the damage off him, and then he would heal that damage off of me. Now, he's no longer doing that, so I just had a lot of damage on me, and then I took damage. Wouldn't you know, I died from that.
I thought you said you didn't die.
No,
he did. Retcon, he would have died.
Oh, the retcon died.
Yes.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's still fun. I like it.
Yes.
Cool.
And with our difficulty changes, it doesn't feel like it's changed much because we didn't have any actual exit.
Yeah, but it's just
these,
but it just feels like the game, like we're fighting harder enemies now.
Yes.
So I think that was the problem, is that first chapter was like, do you like fighting cave sickles? Because that's basically
Do it forever.
Yes.
Forever.
Now at least in chapter 2, it's like you can fight cave sickles, but they don't matter at all. You can just win without worrying about them. So that's what we did.
And no one cared.
Yeah, especially because it was Paul down there. His armor is great. So and then
he was
swarmed.
still like smashing them.
Yeah, and they just weren't doing anything damage.
Yeah.
So
And then we won.
Nice.
But we did have a new enemy that's a bulb thing. It's sort of these kind of, I don't know, flower pod monsters, and they had like these little tokens that would go out on the board, and every time you would move away from them, you would take attack of opportunity equivalent.
Yeah.
And they would explode and just do random bullshit to you. So Thursby got the unique monster loot that lets him do that to enemies now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But he didn't want it, so he gave it to me.
Yeah,
so
so
like,
it uses the same token, so we can just kind of be like, I don't know, is it going to poison him? Is it going to disease him? Is it going to paralyze him? There's no
Who
way to
can
know.
say?
Who can say?
Yeah. I tried to use it on that next boss, or the next fight, which was the boss.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, she stayed in the exact same spot the entire time, except she would just teleport to different people, but it didn't count. Teleporting doesn't count for break attacks.
Oh.
So I was like, well, fuck this. I can't use this at all.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
We did get some of the new consumables, one of which just is like teleport within your sphere of influence, which is 5 squares.
Mine is 5. Yeah.
So I can just teleport and like, what's the anime behind kid thing? No hard feelings, kid? Is that what it is?
No. What?
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I can just do that though. It's a meme.
Yeah, it is.
There's a whole meme thing.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is, though.
I can do that. And then our other one it's a beeper.
Yeah.
It's like a weird fantasy anime beeper.
Okay.
And hope everyone knows what a beeper is.
Pager.
Pager, yeah. It lets you, after initiative is drawn, take an initiative card and move it to the front or move it to the back.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah, because you shuffle it each round, and so
Yeah,
That
if something really bad is going to happen, you can kick them to the end. Or
there have
push
been
them to the
several
front.
times where like we're gonna be fine unless the monster goes first, in which case Thursby's gonna
or
die.
the monster goes before person X.
Yeah, yeah.
And so now you can. It's probably just going to be used to move a monster to
Yes,
to
100%.
the end.
Yeah. So when I got this game, I had known that line of sight was like a big deal in it, and so I had bought a little laser from Harbor Freight that like would go on a saw, because like other laser sights that I've seen, because it like actually draws a laser line on it.
Laser pointers.
Laser
lines.
laser line pointer, laser liner. Would like they were like $30-$50. That was like $5. So I was like, okay, great. But we've gotten a lot of use of it in this campaign.
Some of the squares aren't just like, this is a square and it's red and you can't look through it, kind of like Star Wars Imperial Assault.
Mm-hmm.
Where like some of the red in this is like extra bulbousy and kind of actually moves outside the squares,
or
and they're like
inside
odd
the shapes.
shapes.
Yeah. So we actually had a thing when we're fighting the boss where Paul was gonna die if she targeted him, but
and
she
then
would teleport.
she was gonna teleport to the person that was furthest from him. So I had to try and get somewhere where I could see her but could not see him.
And there was one exact space because of a little bulbous area of red.
Little just tiny little blob where like those two spaces that were directly across next to each other on the other side of the board
You could see
do
one,
exactly
but not
that.
the other. Yeah.
Because she was going to target the person with the lowest conviction within line of sight, and that was the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're welcome, Paul, for not being the only one that has died so far.
Exactly.
Midarra.
Right on.
What's the subtitle to that?
Oh God.
Midarra, Unintentional Malum.
Yeah.
Act 1.
Yep.
Great.
I mean, look, it's not hiding what it is. So
No, it is not.
no, you see some of that art, and it was just like, yep, that's anime art.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
You chose this.
Yeah.
Right on. So that wraps up what we've been playing, and brings us over to some banter related things.
Yep.
So I'm late to this train, but I
Choo-choo?
caved. So
What did you cave on?
we got back I think this was after our little like ski trip. I had like a couple days where I didn't have a lot going on, or maybe it was right before. I can't remember where this fell. Yeah, that's what it was. It was between the wedding and the ski trip. And Megan was playing computer games, and I didn't really have any console games I wanted to play. Like I browsed through all the Xbox shit on the Game Pass. I was like, eh. It's like, well, I've been talking about getting Horizon Zero Dawn. Or Forbidden West for a while now. Maybe I should just do that. So I did. So I bought Forbidden Dawn.
Forbidden West.
Forbidden West. And I barely played it.
It was one sentence. You forgot the name.
I know. And I barely played it. Because the name is weird.
The name is weird.
Both of the names were weird.
The first game's name made more sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a West you're not supposed to go into. What's wrong about that?
So Horizon 2.
Yes.
Played a little bit of that, but then I also...
Forza Horizon 2? Was that one in Australia?
God damn it.
That was all on you.
I also signed up for the PlayStation
Plus thing?
Essential.
You got the
pass.
Sucker Edition.
Yeah. Well, so
I ended up getting it too.
I have not.
Well, the reason why I got it was because I was playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I wanted to replay with the expansion. And I was like, I already had regular PlayStation Plus, so I was like, you just pay a little bit more, you can get access to this. And I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So
I don't remember what made me do PlayStation Plus, but I'm actually super glad I did, because it includes The Quarry for free, which I've been wanting to try. I had my eye on it on
there's a lot of games
Steam.
in there.
Yeah. But more importantly, and I'm super late to this party, it had Returnal.
Yes.
And so I fired up Returnal. And I have immediately
It took 2
forgotten-
minutes, but we finally got to him caving.
I immediately forgot about
Horizon.
And have just been all in on Returnal. Basically Returnal goes one of two ways. I die within 2 or 3 rooms of the start.
Yeah.
Or I make it like 3 levels.
Okay.
In a run. So
nice.
I'm now in Act 6. So I made it all the way down to the deeps. And I think I don't know if I made it all. No, because I was still looking for the abyssal key when I died in the deeps. So the deeps are frustrating. I fall so much more in the deeps.
So the deeps, there is like a halfway point with like one of the longest breaks or longest progression stops I had in that game was like the mini boss, like a mini boss in the deeps. I don't know if you've met them or not.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what, like, maybe.
I mean, it's a giant tentacle dude.
Yeah, okay.
But like,
there's like 2 of them that I fought, and they suck.
Yeah. So like that first time trying to beat him, that was like one of my biggest like just progression stops. And the problem with that is that you then, at the very least with Returnal, once you get to like, you don't have to go Act 1 through 6.
Yeah.
You go Act 1 through 3 and then 4 through 6. Which is good at least.
Well, and I do like that, like, so I died. So I went on a tear. So I'd been messaging you guys about how I had gotten frustrated because the first out of the gate, I made it all the way to the boss of Act 1 and then got raffle stomped. And then I think it was maybe my second playthrough. I got past him, got through the desert decently far. I don't remember what killed me in the desert. But then it was like the next like 6 runs, like I would get like a room or 2 and I just die. And it was like, was the game like meant to be easy in the first couple to kind of like get me hooked on the story, and then it cranks like, what is going on? And then I turned it off for that day because I was just getting frustrated. And then sure enough, like I turned it on after the ski trip. I came back and Megan had to work. She picked up a shift, and so I had the whole day to myself. And I woke up at like whatever time we went and got brunch. Yeah. And then I came home, I sat down on the couch, fired up Returnal, and I went on that one from level 1 all the way to the deep in one run. Nice. And then died and then went back. And I was a little nervous when I finally died. I was like, they gotta only take me back to like 6, right? Yeah. And it was like, or to 4. Yeah. And sure enough. And then I haven't started again, but I do know you can already, like, when you get to the one room, you can basically go straight to the deep. Yeah. So you have to do like a partial run of 4. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. None of 5.
Yeah. The game's good on that. What do you think of the story so far?
I love the story.
Right?
It's super weird and super interesting, and I can't quite tell what's going on.
Yes, it's very, I really like, so I feel that any good roguelike needs to have a like story reason why you're doing the reruns over and over again. And I think this one has a great a great way, especially because all of the because you get a bunch of audio logs, but it's you. But it's not you, but it's a different version of you doing it. And I like that when you start the game, you're I guess minor spoilers for it, but you're already in that run. It's not the first time you've been there when you start the game.
Yeah.
So that I really liked. And it does have it's 2001 Space Odyssey, really fucking cryptic, sort of weird shit, but it's just I really do. And also it just the looks of it's very Alien Geiger.
Yeah, I like the combat as well, as frustrating as it can be sometimes.
And then the aliens shoot squares of bullets at you.
Yeah, the fucking bullet hell is. And I normally hate bullet hell games, but almost every bullet hell I've ever played is 2D.
Yeah, there's something about it being 3D I think that helps me a lot. But I do remember the bullet hell in the first, you think it's bad in that first level, and then there are some enemies you fight in level 6 that you're just
those sphere guys are just fucking dickholes.
That's what my favorite gun is, Hollow Seeker or whatever it's called, the minigun-esque one. That because a lot of its tweaks is the portal gun, portal shots. Because then you just shoot it, and portals are actually hitting the things. And you're like, yay! I don't have to do damage; they're doing it for me.
Yeah, that is so that the carbine, and then there's the one that's 3 darts that loop.
Yeah,
I do like that one.
That one's great, except when you miss and they just shoot off, and you're like, oh fuck! I gotta wait until they finally hit something and come back.
So I had to stop using it in the deeps because it just
great.
Yep. I have no ammo. For an undetermined amount of time.
Yes, yeah. No, when something's close, that gun's great.
Yeah,
yeah.
And in some of the the jungly levels where there's walls everywhere, they're not very bad. It's not gonna go far.
Yeah. But yeah, that game you live or die based off of the gun you get.
Yeah.
And learning when is it time to get a boss gun versus an enemy gun, and mistiming that can really mess you up.
Yeah, you'd mentioned that in the chat. That's something I just still haven't.
Well, I mean, for me, it's at least for me, there are certain guns that I just am it's if there's a bunch of small quick enemies and it's the single shot fucking gun that if I miss it and then I have to reload, there's 1 or 2 single shot sort
the
of
saw blade one.
Yeah, that it's just I'm or if it's a boss where you're going to be far away from them and it's the shotgun where you want to be close.
Sure. Okay.
You're oh, this is pretty shitty. So, but yeah.
I also get very heavy control vibes off of it. Jeff's giving me the weirdest fucking look over here.
I'm just saying, it's been 9 minutes of Returnal.
It's a good game.
We have a lot to talk about.
All right, so that's Returnal.
Yes.
So I have more things to talk about, but I'm not going to bogart 20 minutes. I'm going to bounce it, and then it'll come back around.
Mario.
So, I didn't see it. I don't give a shit.
Now we can talk about something you haven't done.
Have you not played Returnal?
A little bit, but not that much.
Oh. For some reason, I thought you had beaten it as well. I
Incorrect.
Thought you were really
I don't even know if you got to the first boss. Did you beat the first boss?
Yeah, I got to the desert.
Okay, then that was it. Yeah.
Oh, you should play Returnal.
I should. I was waiting for the fucking
co-op.
No, suspend.
Oh yes,
yeah. You never played it without that, did you?
No.
It's you finished your run, or you couldn't do it.
Although I got fucked. Because there's
you got him back to play talking about Return.
The ship there's a bed, and I didn't know it healed you at all because I would just go sleep right away. Yeah, when I woke up for I don't know reasons.
Yeah.
Then I was reading a thing about one of the things you can lay in it takes all your health but gives you an artifact.
Yep.
And as I was looking up what is this thing, and it said that, and it was but this isn't a big deal because you can run back to the ship and sleep for full health. That's how it used to be. They patched it so the ship does not give you full health. It gives you a tiny little chunk. So I ditched all my health right before the big boss fight, went and slept, didn't get any back, and then got raffle stomped.
Oh, cool. Now I have nothing.
And it was a dumb, useless artifact too. So don't use that bed.
Okay.
The one that says it hurts you, don't use it. It's bad news bears.
So back to Mario.
Mario exceeded expectations, was very thin. The music was enjoyable, as were the visuals.
Were the expectations thin, or was it's exceeding them?
So
thin?
everyone
barely exceeded.
So everyone that I've heard say it exceeded expectations previously said they had very low expectations of the movie.
Okay.
I think for me, I think I had slightly higher expectations,
and it didn't live up.
So
to
it basically honestly, the real problem is that because that was Thursday, I was off. I was building Legos, and I ended up,
Rivendell, don't sell yourself
the
short.
Rivendell Lego set, and I happened to just watch Puss in Boots: The Last Wish again, which is
it on like Disney or something?
it was on Peacock.
Peacock. I don't have that.
My second favorite movie of the last year,
Okay.
and so I watched that, and then I watched Mario, and I was just like, oh, I saw a much better kids movie earlier today.
I thought you were gonna say you watched.
It's like when you went
1990s.
It's like when you went
Mario.
and watched all 3 John Wick movies and then immediately saw the new John Wick movie
Yeah.
and be like, man, I've seen too much of John
Yes.
Wick murdering someone in the last day.
The vast majority of people I saw for John Wick 4 were like, this is the best one yet. And I was just like, oh, it was a lot, guys. Partially due to the fact that I watched him kill people for 6 hours that week already. So, yeah. But the Mario movie, visuals, very good. Jack Black was very good. Chris Pratt was, but they at least do give a good enough reason why he's not doing the Mario voice the entire time. So,
Does he do the Mario voice at all?
yes. And I only say that because it's in the very first thing you hear is him doing that. So,
Gotcha.
him is doing that.
They do
so.
have Charles Martinet in there, like literally dressed as Jumpman doing the Mario voice.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of a movie of a lot of that.
There's a shit ton of Easter eggs in that.
Yeah. It's just like, oh, that little R-Wing. Oh, he's playing Kid Icarus. Oh,
Yeah.
the pizza place is named Punch Out Pizza. And it's got all the pictures of the boxers. And
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So, like in the trailers, you see that people have go-karts, right? For Mario Kart. When you're choosing them, like it shows the Mario Kart selector, like in the game.
literally building your carts from Mario Kart 8.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they have a shit ton of references. In
And
this.
then they have Aha's Take On Me as one of the tracks. Like, yeah. As they go into like Donkey Kong Land, instead of having like cool, the rest of the movie is all like really cool arrangements of the like original Mario music or whatever music from those games. And then it's Donkey Kong and it's fucking Take On Me from fucking Aha. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing? You had a zillion songs from,
Yeah.
I was like, what the, was Welcome to the Jungle too expensive?
It made over the holiday weekend, so Wednesday to Sunday, it made $204 million.
Yes, the largest animated opening of all time, the largest video game opening of all time.
I thought Warcraft was going to keep it forever.
Warcraft, I did not know, was the largest video game adaptation opening of all time until now.
Video game adaptation
Yes,
opening? I could
yes.
okay.
I'm surprised.
It was $113 million.
Well, knowing it's that much, I am not surprised that Detective Pikachu was not that. But I would have thought, not thinking of Warcraft, I would have thought that one would have had the highest.
And I thought Detective Pikachu was fine.
Yeah,
I
as well.
have not seen it.
it was fine.
Yeah.
I had like
It may be worth seeing once, I would say.
it
but
blows my
Mr.
mind.
Mime makes it.
yes, it does. Yeah,
It blows my mind that like Mario like crushed it this much too. Like it's like everybody I knew who's like they were like, I guess I'll watch it. Like
Yeah.
no one.
Well, everyone
seemed
thought that
excited about
weekend,
it.
I guess I'll watch it.
yeah, pretty much.
It looked good.
Yeah, the trailers did a good enough job with
Yeah,
it. So
No, and visually the game the
It did look
the movie
good
was,
visually.
Exactly,
yes,
yeah.
was very fun.
yeah,
Okay.
And it was a hot, tight 93 minutes. You punch in, you punch out.
yep.
I will take a movie
Look,
of 90 minutes above and beyond anything else.
And in the credits, you get a nice Jack Black serenade. So
There you go.
And that
Yeah.
song apparently is fucking doing numbers.
yeah, Peaches.
Peaches by Jack Black as Bowser
Yep.
is hitting like top 100 iTunes purchases. Like there's multi-million YouTube videos out for it. There's one live action and then there's one from the movie.
Yeah.
Well, we were talking about that, like the iTunes purchases. That's a meaningless statistic because, like, so few people do iTunes purchases that low numbers make the top of that chart.
Sure.
But everything
of-
else you said backs it up.
Yes.
No, because it came up in a news and politics discussion about like Trump's stupid like
Oh, his song.
he did some song with like the January 6th like choir from prison.
Yeah.
And it was like top of the iTunes purchase things. And somebody pointed out, well, yeah, because the only people who still buy music on iTunes are like fucking 90-year-olds.
But a lot of 90-year-olds are really liking Jack Black's Peaches song. But yes, Jack Black was probably the best part.
So hot right now. He was just in
The Mandalorian.
Mando.
Man, that episode is divisive.
I still haven't watched it yet.
There are people that are like, Star Wars is dead because of this episode. And I was like, no, this is just an episode of Clone Wars. Replace them with Obi-Wan and Anakin, and boom, that's a Star Wars cartoon episode.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
The only people I could see who would say that Star Wars is dead over this is the same crowd who says Star Wars is dead anytime they do anything that
they don't like.
Yeah. Like the real shithead part
Like
of the fan
people
base.
that are like, because they announced that like Rey was coming back in a movie, and then they're like, I'll never call her Rey Skywalker. It's like, all right, well,
who cares?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Exactly.
No one cares.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can only assume it's because Lizzo was in it, and there's a hate boner for Lizzo on certain
I
corners
didn't know
of
there was
the-
a hate boner.
Yeah. Because she
There was
dared...
the flute thing, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
She played James Madison's flute in a, like, lingerie or something, and she's fat and happy in her body, and we can't have that.
No.
Was it like a Grammy performance or something?
Something like that, yeah. But that was history, and you can't shove.
Great.
Yeah. People are stupid.
People are stupid.
People are real fucking stupid. I thought it was fine. Like, it sucked because, like,
The Mandalorian
this
episode?
season of
Is that what we're
Mandalorian
talking
has
about
me
now?
a little
We're
disappointed.
done talking about Mario. We're on to
We're done
Mandalorian
talking
now.
about Mario.
Okay.
Sorry. Talking about
Or
the
we're talking
other
about Returnal
MA
again.
show.
Is that no?
No, I'm done with Returnal.
Is Lizzo in
Returnal.
Returnal?
I don't think so.
Can we?
Mando, this season hasn't. I haven't liked.
I mean,
it as
it's
much.
all of Dave Filoni's like style. That's what this season is. It's just more
Well, I
of
mean,
everything
yeah.
he's done before, which I've always enjoyed and will continue to enjoy.
I saw somebody refer to like, oh, and the Mandalorian in the first season meant Din Djarin.
Din Djarin.
Yeah, Din Djarin.
Din-
That's it. The second.
No, I think it's Din Djarin. Am I correct?
I don't know. It's a Star Wars name. And then the second one sort of referred to the Foundling, Grogu. And then in the third one, the Mandalorian actually refers to like the Mandalorian like as a people. So it's focused on, it's a broader focus than previous ones. So I can see, and it also has had some weird shit in it. But yeah,
So I don't know what I want from this show.
yeah.
I want more focus. I want less adventure of the week.
I'm all for Adventure of the Week.
Yeah.
That's all I want. I don't need more building of lore that has been around for 50 years. I want weird total democracy planets that they just wander upon that look like Epcot.
Did look very Disney.
I mean, it's nice to have a balance of shows that are like very story driven and other ones are just sort of, this guy just goes around and does shit.
and for
Yeah.
some reason, something about Mando for me has like, because it has felt, the first season felt fine with it being Adventure of the Week.
Uh-huh.
Like, he picked up this kid, he doesn't really know what to do with it. Like, he's still going to be doing bounty hunter shit.
Yeah.
I was fine with that. Second season, like, they're trying to like find a home for Grogu. So it felt like there was a story, and it felt like it kind of stuck to that story.
Uh-huh.
And then this season,
And what they,
And then Boba Fett, and then this season.
yeah. And what they don't say is that there's like years and years of time passes between seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
He's supposed to be with Luke for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Well, it would have been great if they
You couldn't
clued
tell if-
any of us in.
Yeah.
on
You
You couldn't tell because of
bullshit.
Grogu's growth spurt?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Totally.
Instead of like this
Fucking
tall, he
Christ.
was like this tall.
I also am increasingly sick of Grogu being like helpless, like puppet doll, and then doing like wild flips out of his carriage. Like something about it rubs me very wrong.
Pretty sure that was Yoda was just like sort of just being like sort of, and then
that was like, wasn't that like a major complaint in the prequels?
Correct.
Was Yoda
Yeah,
leaping
yes,
off of
absolutely.
shit?
I'm just
Yes.
saying it's internally consistent with that species. They
Yes.
sort of don't do anything, and then they just fucking flip everywhere.
My son does not have ADD. He just like to jump. I hope everyone understands that SNL reference.
Yeah, so I don't know. I still like enjoy it way more than Mando or than Boba
Fett.
Book of Boba.
Yeah.
Until Book of Boba turned into that was the best part of Book of Boba was when it was
When there was
briefly
2 episodes
Mando.
of Boba Fett and then 3 episodes of Mandalorian season 2.5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Done with Mandalorian.
I've been playing Dredge. It's that like sort of eldritch horror fishing game.
Yes.
That's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, it's basically what it is. It's fun.
What's the gameplay on it?
You're a boat with inventory space, and you're playing fishing mini games to collect fish for people. And then you're trying to go to these other 4 island sets and getting a magic treasure for a collector. And you don't really know what it's about, but you know that there's a lot of monsters and you don't want to be after dark. There's some sanity. And then you're like, ooh, what's this boat that's out here in night? And then it gets closer and it's like, oh, it's a giant mutant anglerfish that you think looks like a boat. And it attacks you and hits you and damages everything. And now you have to like crawl back to port.
Okay.
Because it damaged your engine.
I've
Sounds
heard it's
interesting.
like 10 to 15 hours, somewhere around there.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Short, sweet.
Single
Looks
player.
good.
So.
Okay. I have to check it out.
Yeah. Played a little bit of This Means Warp, which is kind of like a 4-player co-op.
FTL meets Overcooked.
Yes. But it is also 2 people man the guns and the other 2 repair the ship.
Yep.
That's all that happens.
No.
There are some.
It's a roguelike, so we're unlocking stuff as we level up. So maybe it can get more interesting. Maybe if we get a different ship or something.
Yeah. I know there's different scenarios we can play as eventually.
Yeah.
So, but I think we have to like finish this one. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it was fine. It was entertaining.
Yeah.
But it was like
I would do it 1 or 2 more times, and then if it didn't feel like it changed much from this, that would probably be it.
it's like then you're spending too much time in something that's like, it'll get good in another 20 hours.
Yeah. Especially with V Rising eventually getting its.
I did reinstall V Rising just so I can be like, oh, the new patch is out.
Yeah.
That's the vampire
Yes.
PvPvE.
Yes, I that was one I fell into the trap
Oh,
of
that's
like, we're all playing this, I'll join and play, and then I did not like it.
Oh.
It did not. Well, one, you guys were all like way the shit far ahead of me. And when I play a game like that and my friends have like played for like a week or so and got way ahead, and then they're like, here's a bunch of kits, you can play with us. And then I don't get to go through the grind, and then I'm just bad at everything because I haven't learned how to actually play.
Yeah.
And then it really kills.
I mean, I'm pretty sure the gear we give you also like gives you skill, but you know,
some, but not enough. Clearly not enough.
Yeah.
So, unlike Valheim, which just was too grindy for me. Megan loves Valheim though.
I did like that.
Yeah.
I just couple small things. I got that Lego Rivendell set.
Yeah.
So
Took
cool.
me 22 hours to build it.
Yeah, nice.
I watched a lot of
some real inflated piece numbers based on how many fucking ceiling tiles
the roof.
there were.
I mean, the roof is there's a lot of roof tiles on it. So, which luckily
Imagine a giant Lego piece, like a base, but you have to put individual tiles on every little peg.
Yeah. fuck
Which
that.
I mean, don't imagine it. That's what you do.
At least it came with a thing that lets you square them up.
Well, it's not even just the thing. It's just they organize it in such that you have big long pieces that you haven't put in yet. So you use those long pieces to just sort of shore all those diagonals up. But I was watching a lot of Dimension 20 while I was doing that. So
I was also watching some of Dimension 20 as I walked past. And you're like, oh, that looks cool.
yeah,
They had very
20's pretty
detailed giant
yeah.
whales they were fighting and things like that.
This one is
That's right.
never after, so it's fairy tale themed.
Okay.
And
It was
one of the characters is Pinocchio. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
So the giant whale.
the dogfish.
What's his face?
Lou Wilson.
Yeah. God, I love Lou Wilson.
Yes.
He's a very funny man.
Yes, he is.
If I gave a shit about live plays.
Yeah. A lot of the other stuff's really good. Started the Survivor one.
Oh, yeah, the Battle Royale one.
Battle
that
Royale.
one
Yeah,
was
yeah.
good.
Can't call it Survivor.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
But yeah, that first episode was good of that.
Yeah.
I wish, speaking of your Legos, Zach, I really wish, because like I don't want to spend the amount of money.
You don't want to spend
that they
$500 on a Lego set?
I do. Well, I
Did you
do
just buy a
want
Switch today
to.
too?
It's pre-order, so it's fine.
I do want to,
which
is the problem, because I have other things that I want to spend that money on more.
Yeah.
So what really we need to set up a situation.
You really need to somehow work your prenup until it somehow lets you buy Lego sets.
I mean, we kept our finances separate, so I could buy Lego sets.
There
if
you go.
I really want to buy Lego
sets.
There
you go.
But I don't also have a place to put them. So how about this? So from now on, you buy the Lego set. I will put it together, and then I will take it apart, re-separate everything back into its original baggies, and then give it to you.
That's a bold distinction.
It's a bold distinction.
Because it's going to take you about as long.
So you build it, then you take it apart and just dump it all in a box, and then I'll also get to have the fun of trying to find the piece in the box while I rebuild it. And
well, you can just do what Adam Savage does. I forget what it's called. But they just open every bag and then they sort out every piece by type and like put them all out together.
That sounds great.
Into a giant, like on this mat.
On a table.
On a table. It'd be like all of the like 5 peg green ones are all in a line.
Perfect. Yep.
That's
down.
Neldian or something like that. I forget what it's called. But you know what? I'll let you do that on... So there's 2 different types of Lego sets. Really, there are the Lego sets, and then like the Technic sets. Those that's where I have like the giant car and shit like that.
Sure.
Those would be a pain in the ass and a half to try and take all that shit apart.
Sure.
Because that is a bunch of fucking they make a fucking engine so you can show all the parts, but those things are all fucking locked together in a real you can't just be like, oh, I'm just gonna pop it off. It's a bunch of
Okay.
It's a bunch of shit.
I'm less interested in the cars. I'm more interested in the Rivendell. So.
Oh, like that one specifically. Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the rocket ones, but those probably fall in the Technic ones, don't they?
No, they're fine.
Oh, see, perfect.
Yeah.
So just start taking one apart and then give it to me. I'll put it together and I'll give it back to you and go back on your shelf.
So the Rivendell part does come in 3 parts, and I did accidentally crush one of them and it fell apart. Luckily, it was most of it's together, so it took me 10 minutes to put it back together, but it was I was holding it, trying to be pushing it to the other, to actually connect them.
Now kiss.
And then I was just oh, it's not doing it. And it has an empty spot in the middle, and I put a little bit too much pressure on that, and the walls buckled. And it's and I was just God damn it. But it's not like those things that you've seen.
The murals.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
CabinCon's coming up.
CabinCon is coming up.
Around the fucking corner.
Yep.
Super excited.
Got a tooth extracted. That was fun.
Sounds like the opposite of fun.
I got my tooth extraction thing that they're gonna put in
the post?
Price. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be $2,300.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. Is that just the post part, or is that include the implant?
That's just the post.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
And I'm I'm gonna shop this around a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. On my sheet, so they didn't, they're real stingy now with pain meds. Dentists.
Yes.
They're just you can take 2 Advil and 2 Tylenol, and it'll clear it up basically. Which, to be fair, once I take that, it worked. But on the note, it said. The note they gave me was just make sure you start taking pain meds before the Novocaine wore off. And I found out about that an hour after my Novocaine wore off.
Oh.
I just, for whatever reason, didn't read it. And then I was just trying to watch Poker Face, and I was just I got to pause this. I was oh, I probably, you know what? I should probably take some pain meds. How much do I need to take again? I looked at it and it says you should take this. And I was God damn it.
You could have gotten way ahead of all this.
Exactly. Yeah.
What's Poker Face?
It's a show on Peacock. It has Natasha Lyonne as her character is she can always tell when someone's calling bullshit.
Okay.
So she can, and it's about watching her sort of Columbo solve things, but she's not a detective or anything. She's just a person wandering the country.
Okay.
But it has a good gimmick in that because it's like a whodunit, but you see who kills the person. You watch the first third of the show. Is you watching what leads up to the murder.
Sure. And
then it flashes back and then shows you the leading up to that murder again, but how she's intertwined in it of she happens to be working at that one place, talks to this one person that lets her know one thing that when the person dies and someone else says that, it lets her know things that are bullshit versus not. So
Okay.
it's fun. It was fun. I liked it.
Okay.
It was good for recovering off of tooth extraction. So I watched like 8 episodes that day.
I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't like you were in the middle of just like, for whatever reason, watching the music video for Poker Face.
Oh yeah, I had it on a 10-hour loop. You know, you can just on YouTube.
Getting more and more ripped on pain meds watching the Poker Face music video.
I didn't think you were watching it on repeat, but I thought maybe you were like watching music videos for some reason, and that was the one that was on. You were like, no, my Poker Face is wearing off.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Well, I did a bunch of snowboarding. So I've snowboarded more in the last 2 weeks than probably in the last year. So my legs are very tired, but I have been having a bunch of fun. So like we obviously went snowboarding for the wedding. That was just one run. And then we went snowboarding a couple days after the wedding at Steamboat. That was a bunch of fun. Steamboat was great. And then we did this like honeymoon or Nectarsun,
yes.
This Nectarsun adventure to Copper for a couple days. And that was a lot of fun. I got to explore a lot of Copper I hadn't seen before. I did this little like hike to and dropped into this massive big bowl. It was really steep and it was kind of scary at first. And then I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I did it and it felt good. And then today we were up at Winter Park and it was like 45 or 50 degrees. And so by the end of the day, it was very slushy. But I had a lot of fun ripping around, riding real fast.
Nice.
And so it was fun. I'm glad I've gotten to do some more snowboarding lately.
Neat.
That's my last little thing. Cool.
Cool.
That's it for Banter. Quick news and Kickstarters. There's not a whole lot here.
There is not. First up in news, those folks over at the man, what is it now?
Plaid Hat Games.
It's still Plaid Hat.
Yeah.
Yes,
They walked away with all of the Crossroads stuff after their unmerger.
Yes.
They've got a new Crossroads game called Freelancers coming out at Gen Con.
Yes. So this is the follow-up to Forgotten Waters.
Which I would say their most successful Crossroads game. Maybe Dead of Winter could be up there.
Well, I would say Dead of Winter was like the more successful, but I think the Forgotten Waters was the best implementation of it.
Yes.
Yeah, especially because
Dead of Winter didn't even have much cross word roads.
It was
in
like
there.
You hold a card and see if the thing happens. Oh, it doesn't. Okay, all right. Maybe someone. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Yes. This, however, looks like it's going to be more of a fantasy RPG, aka D&D. But it looks like it's going to have the same little books with the same sort of little character placement. Fingers crossed Piccolo returns as the voice of this Crossroads game.
Yep. I know we really enjoyed our Forgotten Waters time, and we still need to play the DLC.
There is a DLC.
It still has the Constellation thing, too. Good.
Yeah, I was like, does it have the Constellation thing? But I don't know if that's supposed to be like a map area or specific player thing.
Oh, yeah, because in Forgotten Waters, everybody has one.
If each individual player had their own sort of story thing going on, where this might not have such a unique thing.
But you also, like, not only does everybody have a role, but you also have, like, a character sheet, too.
Yes. So there's, like, the Hound Paladin, that's the scout, and then there's, like, titles. Like a bookkeeper, influencer. So there's definitely like some sort of class system happening.
Right.
But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Definitely want to play this one for sure.
Same.
Yeah. So they do talk about that like you create your unique character by like kind of combining all these different things.
Oh, it's 2 parts of the thing. So it's
like it's race and class
that
come together,
separate.
and then you add all these other things that are like health, a follower, 2 followers, a weapon, whatever this is, it's going off to the side.
I mean, that makes sense, because in Forgotten Waters, you could add equipment and stuff.
Yeah.
Earn chaotic and lawful titles on quests to become a legend. Gain followers that give you, like, different checks and things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. It'll be neat.
Does it say...
Looks quirky and weird.
any, like, how many scenarios or anything yet, or just announcing the concept?
I have not seen a
that's fine.
scenario total.
24 different locations in the
That's going to be in the book. Yeah.
But I don't know how many stories that will be.
Okay, cool. Well, Forgotten Waters worked well, so it looks like this one. Hopefully, this one will too.
But yeah, we will have more information about that. I'm sure in
Gen
the future.
Con,
if nothing else, then after you guys go to Gen Con this year, tickets are purchased.
Oh
Indeed.
yeah.
Next up on news.
Last up on news, Fantasy Flight had a fun April Fool's bullshit thing. Everyone loves the Blob scenario. Well, what if you wanted to play as the Blob?
Yeah, Blob Investigator.
Yes. He's your human friend. He keeps trying to escape. Best friend. I think his name is Peter?
Ever since 8L08 Smith, Blob Smith was just a little, definitely human boy. He always dreamed of visiting Arkham.
Their last year's one was the Barkham Investigator,
which did exist.
That's right,
which did end up existing. So I'm curious to see if maybe this one might.
Yeah. Its treachery is really, really hungry. Its revelation is devour the game. Like, eat the game.
Yeah.
Make the game disappear. But I mean, the rules for the best friend is interesting. When your turn ends, he's trying to run away. If you fail, attach him to your location. If you succeed, flip this card, and then you can parlay. There you are. Take control of best friend. But it has like 25 health and 1 sanity, and then like its flipped side is the opposite. It's like 25 sanity and 1 health.
Oh, okay.
So you can sort of like dump like a crazy amount of damage or sanity on this human. The Blob also has like 55 health. Its action is do human things, like investigate an enemy. That works, right? Fight one doom. I don't know. Don't devour anything. I'm on a cleanse.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, this would certainly be fun if that existed.
Yep. Although it would have to be adjusted because, you can't actually eat the game.
I also like that
no,
they said
you do
it
have
will
to
be
just chew the game.
It'll be available for print and play on April 1st, 4141.
Nice.
Your 41,000, 4,100.
And then that hyperlink, by the way, goes to the Wikipedia for April Fool's Day.
I mean,
in case you just were really not.
I really am curious to see.
It's only 3 cards.
Yeah. I'm curious to see if anybody like tried to message them or message them on Twitter or just like, hey, your link's broken. It brought you to a Wikipedia page. Like they didn't see
what Wikipedia page it was.
Or like for whatever reason it didn't click to them. Yeah.
It also has 1 perception, 5 lore, 5 combat, and 1 agility.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As a neutral investigator, it can include any player card in the game with this deck, giving him unparalleled versatility.
Nice. Yep.
Yep.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
They tend to be good with those.
There you go.
And now
That's the Blob. On to some crowdfunding.
Yes. Crowdfunding's pretty light, but heavy on money. First up, we've got Zombicide White Death. This one has raised $1.2 million of its $200,000 goal. About 2 weeks left to pledge this one, with almost just over 11,000 backers, with your pledge being $110.
So I feel like 1.2 million is like very low.
It is definitely low.
But also that's still like this is like the 10th, the 12th Zombicide thing
it's
that's coming.
Crazy. I don't and like from what I understand, they haven't really changed the formula of how they play, so I don't understand.
Like it only I know like there was a difference between like Zombicide and Black Plague when it went to the medieval one.
Yeah, but not much. And most of the changes they moved into Zombicide when they did season 2.
Yeah.
Or the reprint or whatever the fuck they called it.
Yeah. But I guess this one's whole thing is winter, I'm assuming.
Yes. So this one, apparently
how much is the all-in pledge?
All-in pledge.
Oh, it's just they just have one pledge.
Yeah, 110 or more.
How much does it show? Do they even try and show any amount of shipping, or has that sort of fixed itself a bit?
I think shipping has chilled out. So most states in the U.S. $33 to $44 for Frozen Fortress.
Okay.
Optional buys not included.
So it's $33 to $44 on an $110 pledge.
Yeah.
So and for optional buys, it looks like there is a 20, a 25, and a 45 so far.
So 90. So 200 would get you all in basically right now.
That's what it seems like. Now I don't know how much they have. Like
usually, as they go through the things, they'll start doing like, hey, here's like an optional expansion you can buy or stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
they
that
are
like bigger
only
ones
on
than
day
that.
6.
Yeah,
so I would expect more.
Yeah.
Reveals for that kind of stuff. So what I have pieced together using what vague small amount of logic that I have.
What the fuck is that?
That's from
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's from
what?
not Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah, Kung Fu Hustle.
It is Kung Fu Hustle.
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
Their heroes survivor things are continuing to be themed after various popular media.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like, well, some of them I get, some of them I don't.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so the ones that are color themed, so Black Plague, or Black Death, Green Plague,
Black Plague, Green Horde,
Green Horde, and now White Death.
Yep.
Mhm.
Are all the medieval themed ones.
Mm-hmm.
So they, in theory, can kind of play together. This one kind of moves to a very
Did I see
Asia-inspired.
Warriors of the Rising Sun, a game that they also did?
Warlords of the Rising Sun is
Yeah.
an add-on.
I'm curious if any
8
of those...
Survivors, a Necromancer.
Rising Sun.
Yeah,
add-on.
from Rising Sun
Yeah.
game. I'm curious to see if like
Oh.
they have anything. Oh, what's this? But yeah.
Maybe.
hard to say.
Eternal Empire, an expansion.
Seems to be a very Asian themed
Yeah.
White Death expansion. Where's Goku?
I would not be surprised if there is a Goku somewhere in here.
Yeah.
In the heroes.
Wasn't Monkey King in...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, in Rising Sun. Yeah, so...
Oh, the thing.
Kong.
Oh man, what was that?
Yeah,
What was the controversy?
there was one that somebody just made up and put
they
in
just
Wikipedia.
threw on the wiki page, and they're like,
and then someone made it. Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
Um,
Someone made a fake wiki page that they got all of their material about the history of that person from.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, that's all completely fake. You
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yep. What? Why is there?
Lacuna Coil is in the game.
Why?
Okay.
I didn't know Lacuna Coil even still existed.
Oh, every band still exists.
That's very true. Yeah.
Wow. I haven't listened to Lacuna Coil in decades.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so there is just a whole bunch more vaguely medieval, vaguely Asian inspired Zombicide things.
Yep.
All right.
So there you go. Couple $100.
Speaking of things being inspired.
Last up.
Last up, we have over on GameFound, Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era. This one is closing in on $3 million of its $75,000 successful funding.
Yes, $75,000 was all they needed.
Yes. Nearly 4,000% of that goal. Just over 9,500 backers, about a week left to pledge this guy. Which also has a base pledge of $195. This, of course, coming to you from the wonderful people of Chip Theory Games.
What is Strategist Pledge? Is that from this one?
That one is base game pledge.
Okay.
Base game pledge is $195. All in is $400.
For some reason, and I don't know why, despite the fact that we have said Elder Scrolls multiple times, I kept thinking this was Lord of the Rings. And then I scrolled down and I saw Argonian, and I was like, but that's from... Oh, I'm dumb.
Yes, this is not a Lord of the Rings Chip Theory game. But yeah, it is Elder Scrolls. It looks like it has the neoprene playmat hex thing. It's got all of the chips that you would imagine. It feels a little bit like Jime of your, like, here's a board that you're exploring. You have character sheets that have a lot of dice placement for their various stats.
Hey, at least they have free shipping with every pledge.
It is a lot of stuff.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like all of their stuff,
it looks great.
It looks great.
There's a lot there.
They're still doing their like health, like the poker chips is health.
Yep.
Like, that's just what they do.
Chips is health. There's a lot of dice. There's a lot of chips. There's a lot of content. But how much do you really
10 neoprene mats.
How much do you really care about playing that content?
I don't know.
It's another. I mean,
well, I guess for me, like for this is like how much does it feel like they're trying? Like, does it feel like it's evoking Elder Scrolls in some way versus just does it feel like a standard game that they just put it the?
I'm sorry,
flavor.
I said 10 neoprene mats. It's actually 12 because there's also an entrance mat and a clash mat, which are different.
And they're all double-sided. There's a zillion classes. You go to all the different Skyrim and Morrowind and
lockpicking dice.
Yeah, you have all your stats. Your characters get built. That's your
Enemy
character
chips.
builder. Even the enemies have their own like
Character record is just a lined notebook.
Yeah, so you can make a record of your character. Have you ever heard of
it's
a
because
journal,
they haven't
man?
designed that part of the game yet, but you want to make sure you have something there. I look forward to the 7 different versions of this rule book, especially when they do the reprint, so you can get a physical copy with the 15-page errata of the game. I'm sort of tired of games needing like version 2, version 3 of the rule book. You're like, we didn't get it right on the first try. Here's the second, third. I don't know. Which version of the rule book do you have? Yeah. People that love chip theory, here's another game. You're probably going to get a lot out of it. Hopefully it's good.
Yeah.
Seems like the last couple have been average at best.
I feel like at least because we played Too Many Bones, and then we played, what was that other one called? Cloudspire?
Yes, Cloudspire.
I feel like we didn't like at least that one. There might have been something good, but like our first play of it was just
the tutorial play.
Yeah, it was just not interesting enough. That we just weren't. And also because exactly like where we were, because we were just renting it, so we just got like the one play.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how many of their things were like work better on after multiple, 1 to 2 plays. Of,
you've got to be invested to be able to.
Yeah.
Like Burn Cycle, that's popular.
Oh yeah, I remember that last year.
Yeah, it looks cool.
Yeah,
but is it $195 cool? I don't know.
Yeah, I think their games are just like their games. Like you said, you got to invest in them.
Yeah, how many campaigns is fucking Frosthaven is Paul playing right now?
Yeah,
so many.
Yeah,
I think just one, but
well. He's playing one, but also everyone that they're playing with
owns a copy of the game. So there's 4 copies across 4 players.
Yep.
I don't know.
There is a lot here in this Game Found campaign.
Yep.
And that's it for crowdfunding.
Yeah. I've just been slow scrolling and I still have not reached
It's
the
just
bottom.
a lot. It's just an Elder Scrolls game. It's making a lot of money. If you like Elder Scrolls, that's going to be your game.
Yeah.
I love Elder Scrolls, but I don't know if this is my game.
I think a big problem with it too is just that there are like 4 games that'll be released that are like that type of game of like you need to invest in. So
yeah,
how many campaigns are we fucking in right now, Jeff?
Too many.
Yep,
too many.
Kingdom Death, Midarra,
Betrayal, Descent. Even though that's
Clank,
Lord of the Rings, Jime.
That's done too for you.
That's
guys,
done,
we
but
still have another campaign.
We still have another campaign.
Do you?
Yeah,
just not actively scheduling.
Yeah,
because Paul has 4 different Frosthaven campaigns he's in.
Yeah, I want to get Betrayal going again.
Yeah,
yeah.
I want to get Clank Legacy going again before the crowdfunding for Clank Legacy 2 hits.
Yep. All right. Well, that's it.
That's it. No listener feedback, at least as of the time we were doing prep for this episode. So no more.
A campaign only taking 7 to 12 hours is not too bad.
Like I said, some people love chip theory.
Yep.
I keep giving them a try, but it's just not
The first play doesn't do it, and then
it's not grabbing.
yeah.
Oh, cool. I'd missed that. That's why you're asking about the strategist pledge.
Yes.
Hydra had a 1/1.
Oh, that's right. You won every version of their all future.
Oh, that's what that means.
Yes,
Okay.
Kickstarters,
Nice.
crowdfunding.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty. Yeah, I'd be way more excited about it if I just was getting it
Got
for
it.
free.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice. But yeah, no.
Yeah,
listen,
but if Elder Scrolls is only 12 sessions together, well, I guess you're playing more than an hour, but
yeah, it should be way
This
more.
is 7
than-
to 12 hours.
yeah, so that's like 3 sessions, I would
Yeah,
say.
probably.
Yeah, that's it for this week's episode. If you want to get a hold of us, join the Slack channel. It's the best way to get a hold of us and interact with us.
Emails.
You can also send us emails.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
And we do occasionally interact on Twitter at MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
Jeff _MHGG.
There you go.
Until something is better than Twitter,
Yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully soon.
I saw a bunch of people bail to other things, but it was like, no,
Well, it's because they were expecting Twitter to like immediately implode, and it still hasn't done that.
no,
So
it's still just limped along.
it's worth half as much as it used to be, but or how much it's worth half of what he paid for it, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah.
Love it when you're investing.
He's no longer the richest man in the world. So,
No, poor
but it's
boy.
somebody else that I hadn't heard of. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Rich people going to be rich.
Probably some shipping company.
probably.
Probably. Anyway, that's it for this week's episode. We are off the next 2 weeks for
Yep.
those of you keeping track at home.
It's not just Adrian this time. So
No. In fact, it's not. But-
I'm going to be out of town next week, and I may have a work thing I have to do that next Monday.
Yeah.
So even if you weren't working,
Even if my bullshit schedule wasn't super bullshit. So yeah, so we're out the next 2 weeks, and then we will be back.
The first week of May?
yeah, right before
1st.
you'll get the pre and post MHCC.
Yes.
Pre and post
Episodes.
Cabin Cons.
Yep.
I even took the Monday off after Cabin Con,
Yeah.
so
Wish I could have done that.
I did have I don't know, I lost it. It's gone forever.
no way to know.
No, yep.
We're just trying to help you keep up, stay awake. Yeah.
Yeah, switching to night shifts. Oof, gonna be rough. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Adrian.
I am still Zach.
And I'm different brewery shirt Jeff.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.